I'm today. So those of you who knew me from last year, I'm doing the same thing I did last year. So the class recordings, once Google processes them, I upload them to a private YouTube channel so you can't find them. And then I post the link in the announcement in Google Classroom once it's available. So that way, if you want to ever go back, you can review the recording. Okay. All right. Any lab safety contracts that are signed? Do you have some? Don't worry if you didn't get it done for today. I do need it for Monday, but this was your first lab assignment. So if you have it, I just want the back page. You're going to keep the rest of the syllabus. Okay. Just tear it off. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Is it done or you got to remember to do it for Monday? There you have it. Great. Thank you. Monday. Okay. Thank you. Very good. I will give you this lab grade. After school today, you'll see Aspen updated with this grade. Okay. Next. Any questions at all on any of the handouts I gave you yesterday, most especially the syllabus? Any questions at all about the nuts and bolts of the course? Matt?
So do you get to have both the AP credits and
you can get both, depending on your college's policy.
so if they accept
I'm sorry, say that again.
so you mean if they accept SCCC's credits or no?
It all depends on the individual college's policy. Okay. So I'm going to give you an example. Several years ago, is this pre-COVID? Yeah, I think she's working on her PhD now. Caitlin Jesma. She's working on her PhD in meteorology right now at University of Illinois Urbana. She went to SUNY Oswego, and when she went there for her undergraduate degree, SUNY Oswego, she got a 5 on the AP exam. She got a 5 on her AP Calc, and she did the SCCC credits. SUNY Oswego gave her 12 credits for physics. 12. SUNY Schenectady will give you 4. So because of her score on the AP exams, they said they were going to give her 8 additional credits. Were they all physics credits? I can't tell you that. They gave her 8 science credits, which could take the place of another science elective, which is also very nice. It's one last class you have to take. And then you have additional room in your schedule to move forward in your major, the classes you want to have in your major. For some of you, if you're not planning to go into a STEM field, this would be your science credit. You do well enough here, you won't have any more science. That's like what I'm telling my daughter. You're going to take these college courses because she wants to be a music major. You take your UHS math, you take your UHS science, you're done. You'll never have to take these classes again. She is all about that. I am done. Okay. So that's definitely an additional benefit. Good question. But definitely check with the colleges that you're planning to go to, what their policies are, because every college is different. Anything else you want to ask? All right, so here's the thing. Those of you who want to register for the SCCC credits, SUNY Schenectady. I keep calling them SCCC because they were SCCC forever. Now it's SUNY Schenectady Community College. Whatever. Schenectady. We'll just say Schenectady. You want to enroll at Schenectady for those 4 credits? Thursday next week is when we're going to do that. We are registering for the course in class next Thursday, September 11th. You will need to know 2 things that day. You will need to know, and you may want to write this down just so you know later, you're not asking me, what do I need to bring that day if I want to register with SUNY Schenectady? You're going to need to know your social security number. Social security, actually, I'm going to give you a list of things you'll need to know. Social security number, You're going to need to know your mailing address. Hopefully you all know that already. You'll need to know what county you live in, whether it's Albany or Schenectady County. That's important because if you are a Schenectady County resident, Mr. Malloy will not have to get a certificate of occupancy for you to prove where you live. SUNY Schenectady will already know you're a Schenectady County resident. There's less paperwork that has to be done. If you are an Albany County resident, Mr. Malloy will be here to have you sign some paperwork so he can go to the Albany County clerk and get a certificate of residency for you. Those of you who took any classes at Hudson Valley Community College, you're probably familiar with this already. You need a certificate of residency because the county pays for some of your course credit, the fee. Albany County has to reimburse SUNY Schenectady. So this form has to get filled out to show where you live. But if you're already a Schenectady County resident, it's already done. So you'll need to know that. You'll also need to know, you'll need a personal email address. If you don't already have a personal email address, you're going to want to create one. Go to Google and create one, or go to Yahoo and create one, something like that. You can't use your South Colony email address to correspond with SUNY Schenectady because we have a filter at South Colony that blocks anything outside of our domain coming in to communicate with you as a student. So you need a personal email address. I think that's it. The billing will never happen here. You're never going to bring any money here. But the one thing you're going to want to do, if your family would be under the financial threshold for what used to be our free reduced lunch program, now everyone gets the school lunch here for free, thanks to New York State, and Governor Hochul put that through, so none of you have to pay for lunch. You want a school lunch, you just go up and get it. You just scan your ID to know who's getting it and what you're purchasing. But if you fall below a certain threshold with family household income, you will also qualify for reduced tuition or free tuition then. But that paperwork has to be on file with the school district. So it got mailed home in the school calendar, and you would want to fill that out, have your family fill that out and submit that as soon as you can, because it also would pay for your AP exam. All of these AP exam credits are therefore free. Your SUNY Schenectady credits are free. There's a lot of benefits to doing that. And if your family just has financial hardship, but you're not below that threshold that they look for, there is an additional scholarship that you can apply for at SUNY Schenectady. That's all in the Google Classroom, the links to doing all of that. And if you're a Schenectady County resident, there's another scholarship you can apply for. I have something just for Schenectady. All right. Any other questions about that? Okay, we're also going, so just make sure you're ready to do that next Thursday in class. I've already communicated with Mr. Malloy, and he'll be here to do that with you. And you will all need your Chromebook here that day. Please bring your Chromebook here to class next Thursday, whether you plan to register for SUNY Schenectady credits or not. Because we're also going to do some registering with the College Board to get you enrolled with what's called AP Classroom, which is the first step to registering with them so they know you are enrolled in this course. In order to take the AP exam, you have to be in an approved AP course. Our course has been approved by the College Board. That's why we can put the AP designation on your transcript. Technically, if you don't take the AP exam in May, we are supposed to remove the AP designation from your transcript because that's a requirement of the College Board that you take this class and you take that test. All right, anything else? You all read about the final exam exemption? What are the conditions you have to meet to be exempt and not take my final? Do you remember?
It's like every quarter it's got to get a B- or higher.
That's right. That's one of the conditions. You got to get a B- or better for your quarterly grade every quarter.
I think it was B- or higher.
Correct. B- or higher on the midterm. Take the AP exam, and there's one more, which should not be an issue.
You can't like skip class.
Yeah, no behavior referrals for me. That includes the cell phone stuff. Okay, that one is an automatic. I just have to call an administrator. I'm not even putting in the referral. I'm going to let them deal with it because it's New York State law. It's not my law. It's their state law. All right. Should be pretty. I'm hoping that's almost every student meets those qualifications and doesn't have to take my final. I'd really like for you not all to, for none of you to take the final because that's just more work for me to have to create one and grade it and all that stuff. Just get the AP done and you're done. And then we just do projects after that. Fun stuff. Once the AP exam hits, then we just do fun stuff. Some of you, those roller coaster things that you saw in here, the ceiling tiles, you get to decorate a ceiling tile with a physics concept. That's all. These are former AP kids up here. Timeline of physics on the ceiling. All right. Nothing else on the handouts? All right. Then can you please pull out the Lab 1 handout? We're going to do our first lab, which is the lab. We're doing it for a couple of reasons. Number one is to just review how you make measurements using proper technique. But then the bigger goal for me, and review Sig Fig rules and all that stuff. The bigger goal on this is to teach you how to write a lab report. That's really what this lab is about. Let's collect some data so you can practice writing a physics lab report using the style guide that I gave you. Not every lab report is going to have all of those sections that were given to you on the lab guide. This lab is not going to have a graph section. When you read this last night, did you see anything about making a graph? No. Okay. The data table you're going to complete right now is this one here on the page. Let me shift over to my document camera. Come on. Oh, really? All right, let's try this again. Let's close out the document camera. Start it up. This is like, there we go. All right. So this is the picture that you're going to measure the length and the width of, or the width and the height. The width goes this way, folks. This is your width. And from here to here, or in the center of the picture, wherever, that is your height. You're going to record those measurements with the proper precision based on a ruler I am providing you. And then you need to calculate the area using proper sig figs. So hopefully you remember your sig fig rules for calculations. Once you have that data, you're then going to come up to me with the ruler I'm supplying you. And we are going to populate a class data table. So we will have 22 data points to look at. Once we have all the data in the table, we're going to come down here and discuss the results of the activity. What patterns do we see in the data? What discrepancies exist in the data? What sources of error are in this lab? And we're going to use proper error terminology, which is in that uncertainty dictionary that you were given yesterday, which was attached to the lab guide. There's an uncertainty dictionary talking about all the different sources of error and the names of those errors. The AP College Board is going to give you on your test, there are 4 questions that are constructed response. One of them is all about data collection, writing a procedure for a lab, possibly creating a graph, but then discussing all of the sources of error and how to mitigate those errors. Do you know what I mean by mitigate the errors? Yeah, get rid of them, basically. What can you do to make the errors less prominent in the lab? And they're going to ask you about that. And they want you to use proper terminology. And so this is a necessary requirement for every lab you write for me. You need to look through that and decide what are the sources of error in this lab. And then what could you do differently if you were to repeat the lab so that way those errors are minimized. And we'll talk about what two things you're going to say in every lab. Every single lab has these two things you're going to do to fix it, plus others that you might come up with. Okay? All right. This is individual. This part is individual. So what I'm going to do is give you a ruler. Do we remember how to measure properly with a ruler? I think there was a part of the handouts talked about how to measure correctly with a ruler. You always go one additional decimal place beyond the smallest division on the measuring tool you have. So if you have subdivisions on your ruler that are to the 10th of a centimeter, your measurement is going to be recorded to what decimal place? The hundredths. If you only have a ruler which goes to the tens place, your measurements are only going to go to the ones place. One more decimal place precise. One more in precision. That's it. And then you follow the rules for sig figs for the calculation. Okay. The only calculation you are going to show in this lab is how to calculate your area. So in the lab report section, there's a section for calculations and what you need to show for the calculation. You can always do the calculation by hand using what we call the guess method. Remember the guess method? I know Mrs. Vernal uses the guess method. I teach the guess method. Does Ms. Crook teach the guess method? Identifying your givens, the unknown, the equation, the substitution with units, final answer with units and sig figs. That's what you're doing here as well. You only need to show one calculation in this lab. Whose calculation are you going to show? Yours. Not every single one in the table. Just yours. Understood? Okay, and you can do it by hand and then take a picture at home and insert it into your Google Doc. That's your lab report. Because your lab reports are not printed and submitted. They're all submitted electronically through Google Classroom. Right. Enough of me talking. Let's collect some data. And then once you have it, you got to come up and type it into my Google Sheet. Okay? Just stick it. That one doesn't have anything. That's not good. Good, that has nothing on it either. Must have been when I cut these out. Stuff. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Whoops. You're welcome. Politely. You're welcome. You're welcome. Let me find this Google Sheet for us to populate. Lab 1. Okay, once you have it, come on up and we'll get you to type it in. This is the data table that you are going to include in the lab. You're not going to use, your lab report requires a data table for the data that's collected. You can just copy and paste our class data table into the lab report that you are typing up. But feel free to come on up once you have your data. All right, so Matt, make sure you bring your ruler with you so I can check that you did it correctly. Grab your ruler. And you have your area calculated?
No.
Oh, you got to do that before you come up. All right. Initials. I'm sorry, RF. Yeah. Okay. And your ruler. Nope. Actually, yes, you're correct. Okay, so what's your width?
4.78,
Height,
6.06,
6.06. And your area?
29.0.
Okay, thank you. That's yours.
Thank you.
Okay, Grace. M, right, for the last initial? Okay, and your ruler? All right. So you have 4.8 and your height and your area. Okie doke. Thank you, Grace. All right. Alex Varon, AV. All right. Do you have your ruler? So I can just check. All right. 5, 6, and 30. You got it. Thank you. You can have a seat.
JB.
JB. All right. Your ruler? I just want to double check that you got the correct precision on everything. Yes. Okay. So you have 4.78
6.07.
and your area.
29.0.
All right. Thank you. This is yours. Very good.
MT.
Empty. Yes. Mark. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. 5, 6, and 30. You got it. Thank you.
JC.
All right. Thank you. Okay. That looks good to me. 4.78. Oops. I put it in the wrong spot. What was your height
6.0.
and your area?
29.1.
Okie doke. Thank you, Giovanna. Okay. 4.79. And okie doke. Thank you. Okay. And let me see your ruler. 4 points. Your initials are,
A VW.
I'm sorry,
A VW.
VW. It's like my brain is Friday. It's the shortest week, but I'm having the hardest time. 4.7, 6.0, and 28. Very good. Thank you. Okay, Ty. All right. What do you have? 5, 6, and 30. Okay. Thank you. All right, Nick. Where's your ruler? I need to just check that you have the correct precision on your data. Okay, that looks good. 4.7, 5.9, and 28. Thank you. You're all set. Okay, Maddie. All right, 4.8, 6.0, and 29. Okay, thank you. All right, Kaden. And your last name starts with an S, right? Okay. Okay, that looks good. No, your area is not calculated correctly. So the rule is with sig figs, when you multiply, this has one significant digit, this has one, so you have to round that to one sig fig. So what would you round it to? 20. Very good. Okay, thank you. All right, Jerry, what do you have? 4.7, 6.0, and 28. All right, you're all set. Take this with you. All right, Andrew, right?
Yep.
AO. Okay, 5, 7. This is not correct with sig figs. What's the rule? Do you remember?
No, I forget.
Okay, so how many sig figs does this have?
1. Oh, so you have to have 1. So it's 40. Right? You round?
Round. So what would it be?
40.
Yep. There you go. And hold on to your ruler. Okay. You're welcome. All right, Mo. Let me see your ruler. Okay. 5, 6, and 30. Okay. All right. Okay, that looks good to me. Emma, hold on to this. Hold on, I got to get your numbers. Your numbers are 4.80, 6.07, and 29.1. Very good. Thank you. Okay, Olivia, 4.77, 6.08. Okie doke. You're good. All right, thank you. Hello, Ryan, 4, 6, and 20. Okay, Ryan, RR, 4, 6, 20. All right, Matt. And your ruler looks like what? Okay, so 4.7, 6.1, and 29. All right, good. Thank you. All right. And your initials are
Casey.
KC. Okay, Kevin, right. Okay, 4.79, And
25.2.
very good. Thank you. All right. Muhammad Kamal. All right. So 4.8, 6.0, and 29. Very good. Thank you. And that's yours. Yep. For you may need to take a picture of it for your lab report when you do your procedure. Ruben Matthews. So 5, 6, and 30. Okay. Thank you. All right. Are we good with this? We can see it all on the screen now. Yes? Okay, let's talk about, first of all, I'm going to tell you, you all measured with the correct precision based on the ruler you had, and you calculated your areas with the proper sig figs. I'm not checking if your measurements are correct. I'm just checking the precision and the area calculation with sig figs. Let's talk about some patterns in the data. What do you notice? Is this what we want to see? No. Why not? Yeah, we have various levels of precision. How many various levels of precision exist? 3 different levels. What does that mean I did in this lab? How many different rulers did I hand out? 3 different rulers. Okay. Is that what we want to do in a lab? No. This is introducing a type of error. You want to take a look at your uncertainty dictionary? There's a couple of types of error that are present here. Any idea what types of errors we have here, Jerry? Yeah, there was definitely a systematic uncertainty, and the plan of the lab. That was by design. That was an error in the design, a flaw in the design of the lab where we did not have a consistent measuring tool. And why did I do that? Because part of the objectives of this lab is, can you measure with correct precision? I wanted to test that. You all passed that with flying colors. Yay! Woohoo! Good job. We can measure with rulers at the AP level. Gosh, I hope so. Okay, so it surprised me. Some years we can't. We can do that here. That's awesome. So that is a systematic uncertainty. What would we do in the future to get rid of that error? We should all be using the same precision ruler. Yes. Now, which of those rulers would you suggest we use and why? What do you mean the smallest one? So when you say smallest, you mean a ruler that's this length versus this length? So the smallest precision? No, I don't agree. Smallest precision would be these. Is this the best answer for what we have? Smallest precision means the least precise. What do we really want to have? The highest precision, the most precise. Because what that allows you to do is get a more precise calculation using sig figs. So that minimizes another error when you do that. Not only do we get rid of our systematic uncertainty, but we also minimize what other error when we have too small of a precision. A scale uncertainty, exactly. We want to get rid of the scale uncertainty by using the most precise measuring tools we have available. Okay? You understand? I hope you wrote that down. That all goes in your lab report when you discuss the results and the conclusion. Now, for this lab, and this lab only, this is the first lab. It is an individual lab report assignment because I want you all to get familiar with how we write lab reports in AP Physics. It's different than what you do in AP Bio, AP Chem, and so forth. It doesn't need to be a long lab. But when you look at the lab guidelines, you're not going to have the graph section. You are going to have the lab number and title. You're going to tell me who submitted the lab. You have to come up with the purpose of the lab. We talked a little bit about why we are doing this lab in the AP course. What are the learning objectives here? You have to give me a brief description of how the data was collected and what tools you use to collect the data, as well as a picture or sketch showing how the data was collected. You will need the data table, which is in Google Classroom. There is no graph. You show me the calculation, and then you'll have the results and conclusions. If you come up with a first draft and you want me to review it before I grade it over next weekend, because this is due a week from today, the 12th, by the time class starts, you would email me, attach the Google Doc for me to review, and I would then add comments to the Google Doc. Okay? All right. Have a great weekend, everyone. By the way, your first assignment. Did you see on the classwork? There's a homework due Monday. The homework due Monday. Make sure you have seen this. You have to read chapter 1 in your textbook, take notes, and then get the reading guide done for Monday for chapter 1. Those rulers are yours. You'll need them to do your diagrams or pictures for the lab report. Have a great weekend.